Thank you for bringing your very rare vehicle today.
I don't think that the DeLoreans are actually rare.
Mm. Maybe in this part of the world, though.
Not even in Europe.
Oh, really?
It
Okay.
should be 400 or 450 in Europe.
Okay. That, I can tell you, that's still quite rare. That's quite a low amount of cars.
That depends. There are cars that are much rarer than that.
There are, but there are a few cars that are as iconic as the DeLorean.
That's right, yes.
And it looks as if you live and breathe Back to the Future.
No, actually not.
No?
Actually, my love affair with DeLorean started right from the beginning when John DeLorean announced his car. That was at the time when I was still studying, and he asked at that time a price of something like $12,000, and I thought, oh, that's good.
Yes.
For that design, for that car.
Gull wing doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sure, I can afford that after I finished my PhD.
Ah, well, you have a PhD. What is your PhD in?
Chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yeah. But then, when it was actually on the market at more than double the price, no, sorry, no possibility. And at that point I forgot about that car. And then something around 2010, I think, I needed a new car. And
you thought you'd go back in time.
I stumbled over this car actually, and thought this is my last chance to get the DeLorean.
Where did you find it?
At the DeLorean Club, the German DeLorean Owners Club.
Yes.
And one of their members moved to New Zealand, I think, and he wouldn't take his car to New Zealand, which is understandable.
Yes, it's a long way to export your car.
It's a long way, and
yeah, they're quite stringent as well.
Yeah, I
importing
think so,
cars. Yeah, they are.
So I bought it, and I never regretted it.
You said you said to me earlier, it's the most reliable car. So it's debunking the myth.
Yes,
debunking the myth.
I had some time to think this over, and actually there were only 3 occasions when I couldn't drive on with the car.
That's impressive.
Since 2010. Yeah. And these were not really bad things. It was the electric, which is notoriously unreliable.
If I push this button here that increases the temperature and then hold it down for a little while, there we go. Lovely, lovely.
Yes.
But if it's fixed once and really done good, then it's okay.
Yes.
And the next thing was the compressor of the how is it called in English?
Air conditioning?
Air conditioning, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that can happen.
It happens.
Yes.
Yeah. What was it? What year is this car?
81.
81.
1981.
So it's 1 year younger than I am.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Okay.
Probably in better condition as well.
I don't discuss that.
DeLorean DMC is just a car and not a time machine, but it can take us back in history to the early 80s for a story of ambition, innovation, deception, and ultimately failure.
Your jobs are threatened?
Yeah, definitely. So when you get all through with it, one way or another, it stayed right in the country, right in the economy, and I don't know how they could have spent their money any more intelligently.
Conceived by John DeLorean, the son of 2 Eastern European pre-war migrants, who was also a former General Motors executive known for his engineering talent, the Pontiac GTO, and possibly fake chin, the DMC-12 was meant to challenge the Big Three of Detroit. Its design, with stainless steel panels intended to be completely resistant to rust, and now iconic gull-wing doors, for ease of parking, American cars were huge at the time, was radically different from anything else produced in the US in that period. A shape penned by Giugiaro of Ital Design is probably the most fundamental aspect of the car, with a chassis engineered by Lotus, who were current F1 world champions, and the De Vrin V6 engine developed by PRV, Peugeot, Renault and Volvo. The recipe for production had some fine ingredients. On paper, the DMC-12 appeared to be a world beater, and production began in 1981 at Dunmurry in Northern Ireland, with £100 million of investment secured from the British government to create a factory and employ over 2,000 people.
Projects of this kind, new projects, and a brand new design of a car, is bound to be risky.
But by 1982, only 7,000 vehicles had been manufactured and roughly 4,500 sold. There were many reasons for this, from the 1980 US recession to the lukewarm reception from journalists and critics, stating that the car was underpowered and unreliable.
Well, that's cool. That's cool, Mike. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it's like to drive? As I imagine, very few people have actually driven a DeLorean. The only time they've ever seen it, really, is in the films.
Yeah.
So what is it like to drive?
Okay, the first thing is it looks like a sports car.
Yes.
And it is definitely not a sports car. It is anything but a sports car.
Yes.
This is actually a Gran Turismo.
Yes, a GT
it's
car.
A tourer.
Yeah.
And it's very comfortable once you are in.
Yes.
And
easy to get into.
It's relatively easy to get in. It's a little bit complicated to get out if you're not that young.
Yes, yeah.
And yes, what other things to say is the driving position is very low, and that means in heavy traffic in the city or something like that, it's problematic.
I imagine
you're losing the overview.
Yeah, it's difficult to see.
Oh yeah. To see in
maneuvering.
Section.
What about the brushed finish? Is that difficult to maintain? Or?
Yes.
I imagine it looks so. I know it's always difficult.
It's like I suppose you have some stainless steel in your kitchen.
Yes.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah. Nightmare.
It looks good one day, and then it starts getting somehow strange looking.
It looks
just like now, but.
Yeah, it still looks pretty good. It still looks pretty good for its age. It's an impressive thing. It's nice when you see some of the details of the construction of the chassis and the way, people have a lot to say about DeLoreans, but there was some effort put into it, right?
I think the design is really outstanding. Yeah, that's Giugiaro, sorry.
Yes, Giugiaro, yeah.
Giugiaro design, and well, I think Giugiaro is one of the best Italian designers, not only for cars.
Yes.
But generally one of the best Italian designers, and this is one of his masterpieces.
Yes, it is a masterpiece. So, it's a unique car, very recognizable all over the world. Yeah. There are very few people that don't know what this is. Yeah. It means a lot to a lot of different people from a lot of different age brackets and demographics. Yeah, so it has a meaning to it, which is, it transcends just car owners,
Yeah, that's right.
It's very interesting. You have a flux capacitor, I see, in there.
Yeah, that's another story. The people were asking me, where's the flux capacitor? And after about 100th request about that, I just had to build one.
You didn't steal it from the Libyans then?
No, no.
Good to hear. Well, you must be a very clever guy then. As a chemist, you built your own flux capacitor. Yeah. Well done. Probably improved the reliability of the car as well. Yeah.
As you see, we haven't done anything with
the motor. Original.
It's very original. And I think this is absolutely okay. You don't have to do anything like washing or polishing it.
Yeah.
I don't see any sense in things such.
No, keep it original. But for those that don't know, it's not powered by the flux capacitor. What is this engine? Tell us more about it.
This is Peugeot Renault Volvo.
Yeah.
R6 V6. 2.8 liters.
Yes.
And 130 horsepower.
Yes.
Injection.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been very reliable for you over the years.
Oh yes, yes, yes. It's it has been used in a lot of Peugeot, Renault, Volvo cars of
that period.
Upper class,
yes.
Practically, with more horsepower.
Mm.
And they are still very reliable in this configuration, and with this very low horsepower.
Yes.
Output.
Under stressed.
This motor is. I think this is the last thing that will malfunction.
Strongest part of the car.
Any other parts might malfunction, okay, but the motor, no.
How do you get other parts? Are they available? Do the owners club support you?
They are available. There's one source, that's Wolfgang Hank in Augsburg.
Yeah.
He is a specialist in DeLoreans. That's what he's doing, DeLoreans.
Yes. Yeah.
And he can organize any parts. And there's also the DeLorean company had parts for something like over 20 million cars.
Oh, right, okay, yes.
At their factory when they went broke, and some guy in the US bought everything completely, and he is still selling as today.
So you said Mike, you drive it every day.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like to drive? What do you enjoy about driving your DeLorean?
Actually, I couldn't say. It seems to be some kind of mental interaction.
Okay.
Somehow the feeling I'm part of it.
Okay, that's interesting. You have a connection with the car.
Yeah. Not only the car, I think also the history of the car.
Its unique look alone would not give it the success that John DeLorean craved. In fairness to the DMC-12, the accusations levied at it were not that different to any other US car at the time, with many being gutless designs that had barely changed since the early 60s, famously including the Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham with just 100 horsepower from its 5.7 litre V8. In any case, John DeLorean and his dream were in major financial trouble, with DMC in debt to the tune of £175 million. Desperate measures were taken, resulting in a highly publicised scandal where Mr. DeLorean was arrested on charges of attempting to traffic $30 million of cocaine into the US. And the charges were dropped, and it signalled the end of the DeLorean Motor Company and the end of the DMC-12's production. This was not the end of the story for the DeLorean as a car though, and perhaps the misfortunes that befell it and its creator paved the way to it becoming probably the most recognisable car ever made. Bad press is better than no press at all, so they say, and the glamour and intrigue surrounding it certainly made it exotic in its own right. But when Robert Zemeckis immortalised it as Doc Brown's time machine in his 1985 film Back to the Future, by accident John DeLorean had made something that would make sure his legacy was remembered well beyond his death in 2005, but never as he would have expected it. Maybe it really is a time machine.
The design is very important to me.
Yes, the aesthetic of the vehicle.
The aesthetic of the car, yeah.
Yeah. I can see why. It has some really nice design features inside it. You know, This is the first time I've actually sat in a DeLorean, so thank you very much.
Oh, welcome.
You know, it's such a famous car, and I've seen a few at car shows, but I never actually sat inside one. So thank you for letting me do that. That's great. That's really good. We have the very famous speedometer here, and we have to talk about that because it does say 85 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And as we know, time travel is only possible at 88 miles per hour.
That's right.
So to go back in time, please initiate the sequence for us. That would be great.
I think that's not a good idea. I have the feeling that Libyans are somewhere.
Yes.
But the car is, in fact, faster than that.
Yeah, so you can confirm time travel is possible.
Would be possible if, yes, if we would have to discuss time travel in some other.
Yes, well, maybe not the time for quantum mechanics.
Right.
We'll keep the string theory at bay. And what do you think about the event?
It's quite nice. Yeah, nice atmosphere.
Yes.
And quite big.
Yeah, it's an impressive event.
A lot of interesting cars.
Yeah. Do you know much about Wagner's products?
Not really, not in depth, but I know that I've heard that Wagner is really good in oils and things like that.
Well, as you're a chemist,
as I'm a chemist, yes.
For your daily driver to help protect it a little more,
yes,
from the terrible effects of E95 fuel, we'd like to give you some Bactafin so that you can keep driving your DeLorean for as long as possible. So, and as a chemist, hopefully, you'll vouch for its quality. I mean, you should know. You should know. So the chemical constituency will hopefully allow for a few more years of time travel.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mike.
You're welcome.
Been lovely to talk to you, and I hope the spa opens up again. And please come again next year.
I think I will. Yes, it's worthwhile.